Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Only Run Very Noob Plays Bravo. Today we get to go against Dorinthea. My sideboard plan against Dory is to side out the choke slams, the zealous beltings, and the sigils. I don't really like 2 blocks, certainly don't like no blocks. And pummel over choke slam is kind of just like an aggressive choice. I know pummel blocks 2, but we like to utilize it on offense, hopefully in conjunction with Command and Conquer. Today we're going against the Dawnblade variant, which I believe should be more popular than the Decimator Great Axe. I like to go second because I just like to block and have a free aggressive turn. I'm only blocking 3 in case he pumps. I can Fate Foreseen. I don't really want to block with both my blues, and I don't really want to block with my Spinal Crush as my threat, since I want to make sure I have a threat on the opening hand. Normally I like to just give them 3 cards and move on so that they can't do anything like route or pump or anything like that. Not sure why they Twinning Blade there. That definitely should just be an arsenal. Oh no, I guess it had go again. Oh yeah, go again from the glint. Never mind. So yeah, we just give him another card, and he doesn't get an arsenal. And here, we don't want any of these blues in our arsenal, but we'd probably, even if one of them was decent, we'd probably still want to dominate the Spinal Crush, seeing as how they don't have an arsenal. So they can't have a D-react to stop the dominate effect. They'd have to use armor. And sometimes Spinal Crush doesn't do too much against Dorinthea because they just swing with the Dawnblade and pump it with reacts, but I think it's fine. We see him pitch a Remembrance to play a Steelblade Shunt. He must be setting up for sort of a long game. It's an interesting thing to note. A lot of times Dorintheas will try to fatigue you as Bravo. You see over 60 cards. They have 66 or so. And we saw the Remembrance. A lot of times their weapon represents just an equal fatigue value to a Nothos. We attack for 6, they have to block with 2 cards. But in the end game, when they attack with Dawnblade for 3, a lot of times we have to block with 2 cards or we just die to a pump. So I definitely like to play an aggressively leaning value plan. We don't have enough reacts to just outlast them. So here I'm totally willing to take 6. If he wants to pop his boots, that's fine too, because I just want to dominate a Crippling Crush with him having no arsenal. If he would have popped Bracers to attack us again for 3, I would have just used armor to block and been happy that he used his boots without blocking with them. I like to be aggressive, but in a mid-range battle like this, it's kind of always about value. So if we could have had him leak that 1 block out of his boots that he would have probably liked to do in a different spot, we're happy about that. He just takes 11 and discards 2. Nourishing Emptiness is something worth blocking. We don't want him to get an extra card. Dorinthea with a bunch of cards is pretty scary, so we just give him a card and some armor. And with this hand, we're looking to just make a surge with Tech Plating, attack with the Nothos, and then pummel. You could arsenal the pummel for later if you really want to wait for a Command and Conquer. I'm actually not sure what I do. You catch me on a different day, I'll do something different here. But I don't love to have a clogged up arsenal because sometimes you just want to get a react in there. If you draw a 3 red hand, you won't be able to get the pummel out of arsenal. So yeah, I just take my value here. Try to get way ahead on life so that they can reach the critical point before we do, and we can start really pressuring them and costing them a bunch of cards from hand so they can't really ever mount anything back. I believe I only block 3 here, because if he pumps, I'm happy to just play the unmovable And if he doesn't pump, we get to hammer for 6 and arsenal and unmovable. Oh, he does go and get Singing Steelblade. And we're definitely just stoked to unmovable this. Our last blue is clearly not that great in arsenal, so we're just going to hammer for 4. Our armor is kind of at parity. We could both block 6 with our armor, like, over the course of the game. I suppose his tunic does block 1 eventually, though, so maybe he has a slight armor advantage. Always sort of important in this matchup. I like just blocking 3 here to try to tear asunder him. If he has Iron Song response, he has Iron Song response, but outside of that, he can't really do anything unless he wants to use Tunic to pump, but then he can't attack with Dawnblade again. The more I play this matchup, the more I realize that you can't really be afraid of everything they have. Like, sometimes they're just going to get you, and if you're playing around their cards like all the time, you're just going to lose so much value that they're going to beat you in the value game. You just have to make them have it. It's a little unfortunate. He has one of his premier threats when we want to pummel this Command and Conquer. And again, you see an exact block here because I'm not afraid of what they might have. Like, if they have it, they have it. I'd rather just be able to... Oh, I can't even play around it. I had 2/2 blocks in hand, so yeah, just block 6 and cross your fingers. But here we get to just hammer for 4 and arsenal a pummel. Pummel and arsenal is okay. We would have really liked to just pummel the Command and Conquer, although I guess it wouldn't have been super good because they still have Crown up. Not sure how I blocked this one. With so many cards behind, like, maybe I could block 9. But maybe I just make them have it. No, I blocked 9 here. And they go over 4, which is a little unfortunate. Just had to cut a little bit out there. My cat must have got in the garbage and got like a cat food lid or something. So yeah, we take a point here. They attack us for 3 and we just block it. If they have Iron Song response, they have it. We're certainly not going to like overblock. So Dawnblade counter is never good. Giving them like a 4-card hand with a Dawnblade counter is not great either. I feel like our hand is really good for knocking off a Dawnblade counter. So I think I'm just going to take his turn and then pummel Crippling Crush. And that should eat up like his entire hand and make, even though he'll have 2 Dawnblade counters, we can almost be sure that those two counters will fall off because he's just not going to have a hand after we pummel a Crippling Crush. And with all his armor, we don't want to just dominate a Crippling Crush because he'll be able to stop it and still have like a 3 or 4 card hand, including his arsenal with 2 Dawnblade counters. We'd rather just throw Crippling Crush and pummel it to ensure that he doesn't have a large hand with Dawnblade. It's fairly face up because, of course, if we're not dominating the Crippling Crush or making a surge, like, he knows what this 2 floating is going to be for. He finally gives us all of his armor. So he blocks 11. This makes me think that he has like a Fate Foreseen or a Sink Below, but we still have to go for it. We can't really give him a 3-card hand. We want to eat up his hand. Oh, it's a Steelblade Shunt, which is a lot better for us. It only leaves him a 1-card hand. He's going to attack for 5. I might have played this turn a little too quickly here. I think there's definitely something to be said for just Fate Foreseening, blocking with Crater Fist, and then sending Spinal back. Because we're blocking with Starstruck and Spinal Crush, and then Hammer for 4 Arsenal React is pretty safe because we have a React in Arsenal. He'll have 4 cards, where if we Fate Foreseen, block with Crater Fist, and send Spinal Crush, we don't have the React in Arsenal, we're down 1 armor, but he has to block with 2 cards, because he doesn't have any armor to like block with 1 and armor to stop Spinal Crush on hit, or Crush effect. Yeah, I might have played this turn a little too fast. I think my decision's not awful. It's like the safer play. But I think in this matchup you might want to lean towards being more aggressive than more safe. Like I've been saying a few times through this video, I like to just make them have it. Being safe is good though. So it's a close decision. I don't like hate my decision, but I think I like the other one a little more. We see him pitch another Remembrance, so he has at least 2 Remembrance. Yeah, we just block 5 because we have 2 reacts. When he pumps to go over the top here, we can react and then throw a Command and Conquer and still have a react in Arsenal. And even when after we use this 2-block armor, we're still going to have the armor advantage. And the life advantage. So his Twinning Blade. This makes me think he's just going to attack with Dawnblade. He even gets to save in a card for Arsenal because of Tunic, which is pretty good for him. I'm pretty sure I Fate Foreseen because I don't want to sink anything. We can set up our next draw and keep a Sink Below for if we have a bad card we want to sink away. Bottoming that Rouse is interesting. I think I might have wanted to top that, as it is a threat, and we might be able to keep a 4-card hand due to us having a Sink Below in Arsenal and armor. So maybe bottoming that Rouse wasn't ideal, because we know we're going to get some cards with this Command and Conquer, like at least 1. If he takes 6, he loses his Arsenal, but with his life total, he'd probably rather just block 6 and protect the Arsenal. It'd probably be easy for us to Rouse. We would have had Rouse, 2 blues, and a Sink Below, so it wouldn't have worked out, but the result, I think it's still probably correct to keep the Rouse there. Luckily for us, we get to just Sink Below this We might even sink our sink below so that we can look for a blue to dominate the Crippling Crush. That seems a little greedy though. Yeah, so we don't do that. We're just planning to throw the raw Crippling and then have a sink below for Arsenal. This Crippling Crush demands cards. An undominated Crippling Crush basically gets 3 blocks every time. Like, very rarely are people willing to take 11 just to save 1 card. Definitely like our position quite a bit here. Here I think I'll sink below the sink below so that I can try to dominate the Starstruck. Oh no, I just take it and throw Starstruck? Very interesting. Let's pause, go back a bit. Maybe I'm afraid this card in his arsenal is the last Steelblade shot. And I'd rather just like take some damage and save a sink in arsenal. Yeah, I actually think my decision's fine. Actually. Because it just demands cards, right? And it's going to buy us the tempo to eventually have a hand where we can dominate something. He only gives us 2 cards, so we're expecting a react after. If he doesn't react, I guess that means he's going to Command and Conquer us. Because you can't swing Dawnblade if you take 4 from Starstruck. Yeah, so he gives us a react. He has another small hand. Using Tunic to Dawnblade here is pretty interesting. There's so many different things Dorinthea could have, so it's almost like not worth really talking about all the things. But he definitely has something if he's not just pitching a card to Dawnblade. The biggest one I'd be afraid of is Glint. Yeah, I'm thinking about crowning sink below, because if I draw blue, I can dominate the Spinal and pummel it. And it turns off Reprise. And that way, if it's like Glint, he doesn't get to draw a card, it doesn't hit, so he doesn't really get to go again. And pummeling a Spinal Crush is just like a ton of damage, plus it sort of steals their turn. So quite an aggressive line, which I think in this game state is perfectly reasonable. And if he doesn't have React in Arsenal, he just dies. So yeah, that's the game. Certainly some interesting turn cycles there. Some decisions by me that are very close. Like, I think either way would be fine. Like, I think sink belowing, trying to find a blue to dominate that Starstruck when he has a card in Arsenal, like turn 10 or 11 would have been good. But also saving, like just taking 3 damage from a naked Dawnblade, saving all your armor, saving the sink below, and just sending a Starstruck is also good. These are a lot of small decisions that I think are worth thinking about, and maybe trying to solidify what the better line is in that game state. This game is really hard. There's like thousands and thousands of different game states based on what's in your opponent's graveyard, what you have left in your deck, what the life totals are. It can be kind of overwhelming at times. I've been playing this game a long time, and I've been playing this one hero a very long time, and there are still probably hundreds and hundreds of micro decisions like this in game state, like circumstantial awareness or like situational awareness that I just don't have locked in yet. When I was younger and I played trading card games a lot, I used to think I had it figured out, like, oh yeah, I know what to do in this matchup, I know what to do with my deck. But there's really always stuff to work on. There's always ways to get better. And if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So just good to always kind of think about and have fun. Never forget to have fun. And happy gaming. Hope you all had a fun time watching this one. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate it a bunch. I have a lot of fun answering the comments, reading them. And until next time.